Okay, JasherMaccabees here. The story of Abraham and Sarah, and they eventually had a son, Isaac. That story is covered in Genesis, but there's more detail, and there's some spots in the story that get magnified in the book of Jasher. And we're going to take a look at that using the cepher Bible. Jasher chapter 22. Woo! You got to read chapter 22 and 23 yourself. I'm gonna pick and choose some spots in those two chapters. We're gonna find out Satan has had a lot of practice. The father of all lies. Not only does he lie, but he's an impersonator. So he's gonna impersonate an old man and run over and try to gossip and try to influence Sarah. Then he's gonna run over and impersonate somebody else and talk to Isaac and say, don't worry about your dad. He's a silly old man. And then he's going to impersonate water. Satan is the father of all lies. And then like in the story of Job, Satan is going to go up and talk to Yahuah and say, I bet you, like he said with Job, I bet you if you take this away and take that away, I bet you he's not going to serve you. He's going to do the same thing regarding Abraham. I bet you, if you do this and if you make him do this and make him do that, he's not going to serve you. Whew. Anyway, let's just jump into it. Okay, Jasher 22, verse 46. I'm going to read a little bit, then we're going to skip around a little bit. Okay, so verse 46. And the day arrived when the sons of Elohim came and placed themselves before Yahuah. Satan also came with the sons of Elohim before Yahuah. And Yahuah said to Satan, whence come you? And Satan answered Yahuah and said, from going to and fro, excuse me, in the earth, and from walking up and down in it. And Yahuah said to Satan, what is your word to me concerning all the children of the earth? And Satan answered Yahuah and said, I have seen all the children of the earth who serve you and remember you when they require anything from you. And when you give them the thing which they require from you, they sit at ease. They sit at their ease and forsake you and remember you no more. He was like, well, when you do good things and you follow through and they pray for this and you give them that, these people, they turn their back on you. Let's jump down to verse 54. And Yahuah said to Satan, have you thus considered my servant Abram? For there is none like him upon earth, a perfect and upright man before me, one that fears Elohim and avoids evil. As I live, were I to say to him, bring up Yitzhak, which is Isaac, your son, before me, he would not withhold him from me. Much more if I told him to bring up an ascending smoke offering before me from his flock or herds. And Satan answered Yahuah and said, speak then now to Abram, as you have said, and you will see whether he will not this day transgress and cast aside your words. He's like, well, you just said I bet you Satan is saying, I bet you he won't do it now. Let's jump down to verse 25. Again, we're in Jasher 23. Chapter 23 now, verse 25. And while Abram was proceeding with his son Yitzhak along the road, Satan came and appeared to Abram in the figure of a very aged man, humble and of a contrite ruach. And he appeared to Abram and said to him, Are you silly or brutish that you go to do this thing this day to your child, his son? For Elohim gave you a son in your latter days, in your old age, and will you go and slaughter him this day because he committed no violence? And you caused the soul of your Yachid to perish from the earth. Do you not know that and understand that this thing cannot be from Yahuah? This is what Satan is trying to put some doubt in Abraham's mind. For Yahuah cannot do to man such evil upon earth, and to say to him, go slaughter your child. Verse 28. And Abraham heard this and knew that it was the word of Satan, who endeavored to draw him aside from the way of Yahuah. But Abraham would not hearken to the voice of Satan, and Abram rebuked him so that he went away. Wow. So there's power in our tongue. Verse 29. And Satan returned and came to Yitzhak. He said, okay, I'm talking to Abraham. Let me go over here and talk to Isaac now. And let me say this again. Verse 29. And Satan returned and came to Yitzhak. And he appeared to Yitzhak in the figure of a young man, calmly and well favored. Verse 30. And he approached Yitzhak and said to him, do you not know and understand that your old silly father brings you to the slaughter this day for naught? Now therefore, my son, do not listen nor attend to him, for he is a silly old man, and let not your precious soul and beautiful figure be lost from the earth. And verse 32, and Yitzhak heard this and said to Abram, have you heard, my father, that which this man has spoken? Even thus has he spoken. And Abram answered his son and said to him, take heed of him, and do not listen to his words, nor attend to him, for he is Satan, endeavoring to draw us aside this day from the commands of Elohim. Whew. Okay, verse 34. And Abraham still rebuked Satan, and Satan went from them. And seeing he could not prevail over them, he hid himself from them, and he went and passed before them in the road. And he transformed himself to a large brook of water in the road. And Abram and Yitzhak and the two young men reached that place. And they saw a brook large and powerful as the mighty waters. And they entered the brook and passed through it, and the waters at first reached their legs. So Satan became the water, and it's aggressive water. Verse 36, and they went deeper in the brook, and the water reached up to their necks. And they were all terrified on the account of the water. And while they were going over the brook, Abram recognized that place, and he knew that there was no water there before. And Abram said to his son Yitzhak, I know this place in which there was no brook nor water. Now therefore it is this Satan who does all this to us, to draw us aside this day from the commands of Elohim. Verse 38. And Abram rebuked, verse 38. And Abram rebuked him and said to him, Yahuah rebuke you, O Satan, be gone from us. for we go by the commands of Elohim. Verse 39, and Satan was terrified at the voice of Abram, and he went away from them, and the place again became dry land as it was at first. Now let me skip down. Let's go to verse 69. At that time, Yahuah appeared to Abram, and he called to him from heaven and said to him, lay not your hand upon the lad, neither do you anything to him. For now I know that you fear Elohim in performing this act, and in not withholding your son, your Yitzhak, from me. And Abraham lifted up his eyes and saw, and behold, a ram was caught in a thicket by his horns. That was the ram which Yahuah Elohim had created in the earth in the day that he made the earth and heaven. Verse 71. And Yahuah had prepared the ram from that day to be an ascending smoke offering instead of Yitzhak, which is Isaac. Verse 72. Verse 72. And this ram was advancing to Abram when Satan caught hold of. So the ram is coming towards Abram. So Abraham, he's getting ready to take that. And Satan, verse 72 again. And the ram was advancing to Abram when Satan caught hold of him and entangled his horns in the thicket, that he might not advance to Abram, in order that Abram might slay his son. Verse 73. And Abram, seeing the ram advancing to him and Satan withholding him, fetched him and brought him before the altar. And he loosened his son Yitzhak, which is Isaac, from his binding. And he put the ram in his stead, and Abram killed the ram upon the altar and brought it up as an offering in the place of his son Yitzhak. Let me move down to verse 76, because Satan ain't done lying. He lied and impersonated water. He lied and impersonated a young man and spoke to Isaac and said, your dad is silly. He's a silly old man. He lied and he impersonated an old man and talked to Abraham. Verse 76, and Satan went to Sarah, and he appeared to her in the figure of an old man, very humble and meek. And Abram was yet engaged in the ascending smoke offering before Yahuah. And he said to her, do you not know all the work that Abraham has made with your Yitzhak this day, your son? For he took Yitzhak, which is Isaac, and built an altar and killed him. This is what Satan said to Sarah. And killed him and brought him up as a sacrifice upon the altar. And Yitzhak cried and wept. This is what Satan was saying. And Yitzhak cried and wept before his father, but he looked not at him, neither did he have compassion over him. Verse 78. Excuse me. And Satan repeated these words, and he went away from her. And Sarah heard all the words of Satan, and she imagined him to be an old man from amongst the sons of men who had been with her son, and had come and told her these things. Woo! So she's like, well, I trust this old man. I assume this old man came from where Abraham and Isaac were. And Satan is telling her a story like, not only did your son get killed and sacrificed, but Abraham didn't even show any mercy. Whew. Let's go to verse 86. And behold, Satan came to Sarah in the shape of an old man. And he came and stood before her. And he said to her, I spoke falsely to you. For Abraham did not kill his son, and he is not dead. And when she heard the word, from her joy was so exceedingly violent on account of her son, that her soul went out through joy. She died and was gathered to her people. She got so excited and violent that she died. And Satan, the author of all lies, steal, kill, and destroy. He's in the middle of that. Verse 87, just a couple of more verses. And when Abram had finished his service, he returned with his son Yitzhak to his young men, and they rose up and went together to Beersheba, and they came home. Verse 88. And Abram sought for Sarah and could not find her. And he made inquiries concerning her. And they said to him, she went as far as Chevron to seek you both where you had gone, for thus she was informed. Verse 89. And Abram and Yitzhak, which is Isaac, went to her to Chevron. And when they found that she was dead, they lifted up their voices and wept bitterly over her. And Yitzhak fell upon his mother's face and wept over her. And he said, oh, my mother, how have you left me? And where have you gone? Oh, how have you left me? And Abraham and Yitzhak wept greatly, and all their servants wept with them on account of Sarah. And they mourned over her a great and heavy mourning. I'm going to wrap it up with this. Satan knew that Abraham had a promise from Yahuah that his seed, his descendants would be like the stars and like the sand on the sea, on the seashore. He knew that promises were coming. Wow. Again, please read Jasher, chapter 22, the entire chapter, and Jasher 23, the entire chapter. All praises to the Most High Yah.